Okay, so I sorted out most of the problems I was having with the light, but I don't like what this is doing. I don't like how they... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 7 lands. There's only 22 lands in the deck. Anyway, so what I was doing is trying to show how my MonoBlack deck works. Let me just show you the cards and I'll try it again. So I've got 4 Fatal Push. I've got 18 Swamps. I've got 2 AR for Select Wing. I should probably talk about the cards. So 3 for 2/3 Elf Noble. Whenever she comes into the battlefield, or another black creature comes to the battlefield, I drain an opponent for 1. I can tap her, sacrifice a black creature to draw a card. Thieves Guild Enforcer. There's 4 of them in the deck. 4 of her. 1 black, 1/1 flash. For Human Rogue, whenever she or another rogue enters a battlefield under my control, each opponent mills 2 cards. Maybe she would be good in Phoenix, because each opponent... Let's think about that. As long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in the graveyard, Thieves Guild Enforcer gets +2/+1 and has Death Touch. Of course, if I have a Voidwalker in play, instead of milling, they're just going to be exiling to the Voidwalker. So, they kind of work together, but kind of don't. Gifted Deathborn, I've got 4 of them in the deck. 2 for 2/3 Death Touch Lifelink Vampire. Again, the reason I don't have the Nighthawk is he's cheaper to cast, comes into play sooner, doesn't hit me so hard if I flip him off the Dark Confidant. Ghost Quarter, there are 2 in the deck. Sack it, straight target land. Its controller may search for a basic land card, put into play untapped, and then shuffle his or her library. And there's 2 of them in the deck. Another Thieves Guild Enforcer. Graveyard Trespasser. This is kind of why I built the deck, as I saw him. I thought, that's pretty cool. And it's so dark you can't even read it on camera, can you? I doubt it. Dark ass card. Anyway, he's 3 for 3/3. Ward, discard a card. Whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from the graveyard. If it is a creature card, each opponent loses 1 and I gain 1. That's the Daybound. For his Nightbound, Graveyard Glutton, he jumps from 3/3 to 4/4, still with the same ward. Still when he enters the battlefield or attacks, but you exile up to 2 cards from graveyards. For each creature card, you drain your opponent for 1. And I just thought, that's interesting. And I don't know how much they are now, but I got this alternate version, I think for €4 each. I saw some chatter about them on Reddit and I thought, that looks fun, I'm going to buy some. So that's the version I got. Liliana. There are 2 Liliana the Veil in the main, 1 in the sideboard. And she's fallen hard. I mean, speaking of finance, speaking of prices, at one point she was at least €75. Now she's 15. I bought mine at 25. So I lost value on mine. But I can play with them, so there's my value. +1, each opponent discards card. -2, target player sacks a creature. -6, separate all permanents target player controls into 2 piles. 0 can be a pile. That player sacrifices all permanents in the pile of his or her choice. Yep, 0 can be a pile, but probably won't be. There he is, Doughty Voidwalker. 2 black for 3/2 shadow. So when he comes into play, if the what the hell is her name again? Jesus Christ. Thieves Guild Enforcer. If she's in play, she will trigger my opponent to mill 2 cards. He will say, if a card be put into opponent's graveyard from anywhere, including milling, instead exile it so I can see it. And then I can tap him, sacrifice him, choose an exiled card with a void counter on it, and I can play without paying its mana cost. So, on the surface, Thieves Guild Enforcer and Delta Woodwalker work against each other, but here they're kind of fun. Well, another Aetherborn, another Voidwalker, Inquisition of Kozilek. The reason I don't have Thoughtseize in here is because of the 2 life. I'm kind of leaning on Dark Confidants to draw cards, so I don't want to lose 2 life for the Thoughtseize. It is better, and maybe the loss of life won't be so bad now that I took out the Grey Merchant of Asphodel. I don't have the looming threat of getting hit for 5 by flipping over the Grey Merchant. So target player reveals his or her hand, choose an online card from it with a mana value 3 or less, and they throw it away. There are 4 of these, so it's got some light disruption. Another Aetherborn, another Voidwalker, Unearth. Now, this could be one of those new instants that gives a creature Undying that Scam is using. The reason I'm not doing it is I don't have any of those. I got these really cheap, and they do the trick in this deck. So Unearth, 1 black, return target creature out of CMC 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put it back into play. You can also cycle it if you don't need it, but I usually need it. Another Inquisition, another Thieves Guild Enforcer, another one, which, there he is. Why is everything stacked up next to each other? No wonder the deck didn't work. Dark Confidant. Beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put it in your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. And Bowmaster just knocks him out, so that's why he's not in the meta anymore, as I understand it. Okay, Geralt's Messenger. So 3 black for 3/2, enters the battlefield tapped. It'd be nice if it drained my opponent, but when he comes to the battlefield, target opponent simply loses 2 life. It's one of the themes of the deck, is an opponent losing life. But he doesn't give me the life, it just... Hey, can I have the life you just drained? No. Piss off. Alright, you little bastard. So he's got Undying. With Ayara, I can play him, tap her, sacrifice him, draw a card, and then he comes back as a 4/3. Kind of neat, I think. More swamps, more Inquisition, more graveyard, more Earth, Lily. Okay, here's a new card, Shadow Spear. There's 1 copy in the deck. So 1, equip 2, equip creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink. Spend 1 permanent to your opponent's control, lose hexproof and indestructible till end of turn. That can be relevant. Has been relevant. And anyway, it's a really cheap effect that this deck wants. A way for me to gain life and get damage through. Another Aetherborn, another Voidwalker. There we go. Another new card. Probably the last new card. Yeah, it's a modern deck. A lot of duplication, yeah? So there's 2 Liliana the Veil. There's 1 Liliana the Last Hope. They all have the same CMC, all the same starting loyalty. I put her in here instead of the 3rd Liliana the Veil because of the give target creature -2, -1, so I can kill small things. I can do the Bowmaster trick. -2, put the top 2 cards of your library in your graveyard, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Could be useful. -7, you get an emblem with the beginning of your end step. Put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens on the battlefield, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. Don't really expect to hit her ultimate. I mean, we're looking at 4 turns of doing nothing but smacking small creatures, ignoring that I would want to do the -2 effect to surveil and raise dead, but it's there. Okay, another errant. Okay, this is probably a strange addition in a modern deck. I opened one in some Modern Masters packs I bought, and I thought I would try it in this deck, and it works okay. It works fine. Sometimes if I have two swamps and say, one time I had two swamps and two ghost quarters. Tap the two ghost quarters for the Cabal coffers. It gives me 2 black. Tap a swamp, and that lets me cast a Geralf's Messenger with only 2 swamps in play. So it helps with filtering. Another Earth, swamps, Earth. Alright, let's shuffle this stack and see if it will actually give you a good show. Because the first show was pretty underwhelming. Alright. 2, 4, 7. So I got Swamp, Unearth, Lily and the Last Hope. These Gildan Force, your Geralf's Messenger. Okay, this is going to be more interesting. So, what I would do is just swamp, tap it. Go ahead and, no, I wouldn't tap it. I would not. I need to think carefully and need to not just jump into things because I'm on camera. So, end of my opponent's turn. These Guild Enforcer, they mill 2. So my turn on tap. Draw. Hey, baby. Play a swamp. Play the Gifted Aetherborn. And maybe attack, maybe not, depending on what my opponent has. If it's Soul Sisters, I would definitely attack because I need to get them down to life as quickly as possible. So my daughter's singing to herself and wife is telling her to be quiet because I'm recording the video. So opponent takes her turn, I tap, I draw, Fatal Push. Now I need another land. Last turn I got flooded, this turn not getting nothing. I could cycle that, but kind of don't want to, so attack. Opponent takes her turn to draw. Good. So, let's get Ayara out. So when she comes into play, I drain my opponent for 1. So now she's in play. Attack with just the Aetherborn. Just keep running him out there. Just here for the music, eh? So my opponent, I untap. Okay, now I have options. Now I have a lot of options. I can trespass. I can hope. I can send a message. Let's say, yeah. So, Graveyard Trespasser. Put him into play. Let's move this box. So now, is there a way to do this so I don't get that damn glare? No, not really. Okay, anyway, oh, nobody's too bored yet. So, attack with the Aetherborn. And let's say, even if they don't do anything with Trespasser, I will use the Ward ability to discard the Messenger. So untap. This glare sucks. Draw. There he is. So this turn, what I will do is tap 3. So play Dark Confidant and unearth the Messenger. He comes into play tapped. Ayara drains my opponent for 1 because of the Confidant. She drains my opponent for another 1 because of the Messenger. And the Messenger drains my opponent for 2. Well, hits him for 2. I don't get the life. So that's 4 damage. Pretty good. Okay, so tap, draw, well, reveal off the confidant. So I lose 1. Then I draw. Voidwalker. So, if I stack this correctly, I would play the Voidwalker, and then I would play the Thieves Guild Enforcer. So first, he comes into play. She says to my opponent, you mill 2. And he says, okay, no, instead you exile them with void counters on them. So already I have 2 cards from my opponent's deck with void counters. Then I spend 1 more black, and I play the second one, and she says, when she comes into play, they do for 2 more, and she says because her sister came into play, that's another 2, so 4. So this turn, my opponent would have put 6 cards into exile with Voidwalker counters on them. That's kind of the idea of the deck. That's kind of how it's supposed to work. And then I would attack with the Messenger because I don't care if he dies. Attack with the Aetherborn because I don't care if he dies. Attack with the Trespasser because I kind of care if he dies, but he's big. And then my opponent takes her turn, and I've only got 3 swamps, so I've already done all this, so she's 3 swamps. I don't know if it's fast enough or good enough for real modern. I'm not sure what anybody would do if they wanted to take some of the ideas and buff them up, but it's there. So Confidant, get a swamp, I lose no life, draw for my turn. Liliana the Veil. So now I can cast Liliana the Veil. There's nothing I really want to discard though. So, but anyway, every time she discards, triggers the discard, Voidwalker triggers. Or I could play Liliana the Last Hope if I need to kill some small things. But that's how the deck works. That's the show I've got for you. Let me talk about the sideboard before I shut this off. Keep in mind the sideboards, because this is for the closed meta of obsolete modern decks I have. It's not designed for a tournament. It's designed to play against other decks I have, the other decks would face. So Phyrexian Revoker, pretty much against Aether Vial. I can't think of anything else. Or if this was playing against Bant Nightfall, you would want to say Knight of the Reliquary. So Knight of the Reliquary can't be activated, so you can't go search for lands and do the combo. So pretty much against Aether Vial, which I've got in 2 different decks, Death and Taxes and Merfolk, or Knight of the Reliquary. Ashiok, this would wreck General Domain, because he needs to search for his lands. Do I have any other decks that do a lot of searching? No. Target player puts top 4 cards of the library into the graveyard, then exile everybody's graveyard. This could also work good with the Voidwalker. So he's just kind of in here. Fulminator Mage. This is this is kind of against General Domain, because it's easy to start blowing up his lands, and when with the Unearth he can come back. Do I have any other decks where I would want to do this? Yes, Bant Nightfall. Some of the non-basic lands that she has, destroy them so they can't be. Of course, it just pumps up the Knight of the Reliquary and makes her bigger. If I decide I need a third Liliana the Veil, she's in here against Soul Sisters, Erebos, God of the Dead. My opponents cannot gain life. Yeah, I can pay 2 life to draw a card. He's indestructible. I should hit that Devotion fairly reliably. but mainly he's here against Soul Sisters. Collective Brutality. It's just kind of in here. I needed 15 cards for the sideboard. I had 2 of these, and I thought, put them in the sideboard. I usually don't side. If you ever watch my modern demonstration games, we normally don't bother sideboarding. We just play the main decks. Deathmark. I've got a lot of green and white. Where are you going?
To Banyan.
Banyan? Okay.
Yeah, Papa.
Papa. So, I've got these against my decks that have a lot of green and white creatures, which is a good number of them. And so I don't have to bother with Fatal Push, because it can only hit things of 2 CMC or less, unless I've lost a permanent, and then 4 or less. This can hit actually some things it can't hit. It can't hit Sigarda because she's got hexproof. It can hit a Siege Rhino. It can hit I've got to think about that. Maybe it can't hit as much as I thought. The rest. So if I'm playing against Burn, I want more ways of ripping cards out of their hand. So I would take out probably 2 Fatal Pushes for Duress, because Burn really doesn't have that many permanents you need to worry about. You need to worry about getting burnt. Last one, Airbus Intervention. This is kind of in here in case I get hit too bad with that Grey Merchant. So I can put this instead, and I can gain life to recover. But that's my modern MonoBlack. Let me get this up so I can start getting the comments. You're not playing modern. Just because it's not tournament viable does not mean it's not modern.